I always find it interesting when people talk about settled law. Minor versus Happersett was settled law. Dred Scott was settled law. Korematsu versus United States. I mean, the list goes on and on. Roe and Doe. When settled law is wrong, change it. So I'm honored to be here with the March for Life. In fact, I have to say, the first time I was ever invited to speak was actually from the founder of the March for Life, Nellie Gray, who was the first one to ever invite me years ago when we started the Radiance Foundation back in 2009. And the first person to ever invite me to speak at a lecture, Jeannie, thank you, at FRC, Family Research Council, also years ago. So we have a whole lot of love for the March for Life and everything you guys do. I am excited about this year's theme for the March for Life: equality begins in the womb. This has such a deeply personal meaning for me. Many say someone like me should have been aborted, that my life wasn't equal to others. I wasn't exactly planned. My birth mom went through 9 months of a traumatic pregnancy, but courageously chose to be stronger than abortion. She enabled me to be adopted and loved, as you see on my shirt. That's me. I grew up in a tiny little family, 15. I have 6 brothers, 6 sisters. 10 of us were adopted. Not your typical American family, but it was very normal for us. 10 of us who were wrongly considered on many levels less equal than others. Most of us were unplanned. Most of us have either physical or learning disabilities, but none of us were unwanted. Thank heaven our worth is not predicated on our wantedness. Too many in society think so, even though not a single individual here or outside of this room had anything to do with establishing his or her innate worth. My parents, Andrea and Henry Bomberger, weren't deterred by how I came to be, but they were passionately determined to help shape who I was meant to be. If you see here on the screen here, you'll see a beautiful woman. That's my mom. And this is the first moment that she held me. I was 6 weeks old. What people can't tell from a picture is the incredible loss that my mom experienced. See, her father tragically disowned her when my parents adopted me. All he saw was my color, which I personally think is a beautiful hue. He didn't, and said adopting this black child is going to, as he said, ruin your family. So my mother literally lost a father in order to gain a son. Racism, it's inherent in the abortion industry, which was birthed in the vile pseudoscience of eugenics. We hear about systemic racism all the time. Well, let me give you my definition of systemic racism: a government-funded entity that disproportionately kills black lives. Planned Parenthood kills over 300 black lives every single day. In fact, in Manhattan, where Planned Parenthood is headquartered, more black babies are aborted than born alive. For every 1,000 born alive, 1,226 are aborted, according to New York City's latest abortion data. Of course, abortion, regardless of hue of skin, is always a tragedy. But where's the outcry from the woke? I know the Radiance Foundation cries. I know the March for Life cries for those precious lives, and for the 860,000 lives each year that are killed under the guise of reproductive freedom. But guess what? Freedom can only exist if we are able to exist. My parents were very countercultural. They were rather quiet people, which is kind of hard to believe because you think, how are you quiet and you have 13 kids? But they were quiet. They let their lives live loudly and speak loudly. They saw abortion for the violent injustice that it was and offered a life-changing, life-altering, beautiful option for lives that would have been so easily discarded based on the misperception of our equality. My dad, that's this man right here. Oh, it's a man who, so many things I could say about this man. I loved him like crazy. He's a man who fully embraced the human dignity of everyone around him. He loved the children that many other men abandoned. I have to say that I lost my father this past January, actually on the anniversary of Roe v. Wade. My dad died after 12 years, a 12-year-long battle with Parkinson's and also the COVID lockdown for those who were in nursing homes and facilities like that. He was locked down for almost a year. But I will tell you, the legacy of love he left behind is strong. He's an incredible man. But my mom recently told me about an instance in college. My dad's friends were all going out to a movie, and his black friends were forced to sit up in the balcony. And so what did my dad do? something that, of course, makes sense because anyone who knew my dad would know that he would do this. Even though they protested it, he went out and sat with his friends in the balcony. He not only believed that we were all created equal, he also strove all his life to see that people were treated equally. It's much easier to do when you choose to love. In our family, we were definitely loved regardless of our past, regardless of our struggles, regardless of our beautiful hues of skin. My parents understood fundamentally, and this is something that is so ingrained in my heart, that we are all just one human race. Color isn't what binds us. Love is. So now I want to show you the love that made this particular picture possible from my parents. This is all of us, this tiny family. This is all of us. 65 strong, although this picture was taken about 6 years ago, so there are 15 more precious lives added through marriage, through adoption, through new births. But see, this photo, which was taken 6 years ago, is made possible because of parents who defied the world's low expectations. It's made possible because of women who chose to be stronger than abortion, like my birth mom. People often ask me, have you met her? And I have not. I searched for her years ago, but over the years I tried to figure out, how do I even thank her? How do I thank this hero in my life? How do I show all the things I've been able to become in my life because of her singular decision? So I wrote a song and I sang the lyrics to this short video that I created as a tribute to her strength. I hope even if I'm not able to meet her face to face, that one day she may see this little video on social media and know that her courage caused beautiful reverberations that will last for generations.
You couldn't see what I would be. It wasn't part of your plan. Stronger than your circumstance, you gave my life a chance, touching the future before it began. You're the reason I am here. I know deep down in my soul, my life has purpose. I know deep down in my soul, my life has purpose.
I know this is part of the DNA of the March for Life. And I'm glad to stand with you. I am that 1% that's used 100% of the time to justify abortion. But the circumstances of our conception don't change the condition of our worth. I could ask you a question. Anybody in here control the circumstances of your conception? By show of hands? Okay, no, none of you. That would be weird. And now, along with my amazing wife, Bethany, and our 4 awesome kiddos, 2 of whom are also adopted, we're able to fight for the most marginalized, the most vulnerable, the most defenseless, the most unequal, the unborn. We're able to fight for mothers and fathers who are daily exploited by a multi-billion-dollar abortion industry. It's why we march. Activists who proudly proclaim their pro-abortion stance are able to do so only because they weren't aborted. Like, for instance, Vice President Kamala Harris. Recently, she tweeted that voting is the right that unlocks all other rights. Not exactly, Madam Vice President. Life is the right that unlocks all other rights. Without life, no other rights matter. Dead people can't vote. The ultimate act of voter suppression, by the way, is killing voters before they're born. Human rights begin when human life begins. Not too long ago, a civil rights movement fought for the personhood and equality promised by our Constitution. Today, the pro-life movement is demanding the same thing. Every human is a person, and every person is a human. It's really that simple. The preamble to our Constitution states so clearly and so powerfully that we secure these blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity, those yet to be born. Planned, unplanned, able or disabled, black, white, or any hue in between, every human life has equal and irrevocable worth. What a better, stronger, and more loving society will become when we embrace the truth that equality begins in the womb. Thank you.